Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts, in the shadow of the Great Blue Hills. We are so happy that you're part of our Reading with Your Kids family. Today we have a wonderful guest coming to us from the United Kingdom. He is a debut author. His name is Charlie Mills, and he's telling us about his brand new book, It's Cool to Be Me. Before we invite Charlie in, I know there are a lot of authors who listen to the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are so happy that you are part of our Reading with Your Kids family. We know that you're in a very difficult situation right now. Typically, especially independent authors, self-published authors, even authors who are traditionally published, it's your job to go out and to promote your book. And the usual way that authors promote their books is by going out and meeting potential readers at school and school visits, at library visits, and at book signings, at bookstores. All of those things are not happening right now. And even though the country is starting to reopen in phases, we don't know when those kind of public events are going to start reopening. So the future is uncertain, and it's very difficult for authors to go out there and promote their book. Well, we have something that could be very helpful to you. It's helped so many authors. It's called the Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read Program. If our panel of evaluators believes that your book is worthy of 4 or 5 out of 5 stars, it becomes a certified great read. And with that status comes a whole lot of promotional tools that will really help your book stand out from the crowd of books that are published every single month. There are literally thousands of books published every single month. So please do yourself a favor. Go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Author Services button at the top of the page. You can find out about the program. You can also contact our amazing author ambassador, Peggy Cotto. You can reach Peggy by sending her an email at peggy@jedlie.com, and Jedlie is spelled JEDLIE.com. Joining us right now from right outside of London in the United Kingdom, he is a debut author of a really empowering book called It's Cool to Be Me. Please welcome to the show, Charlie Mills. Charlie, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm really excited. Charlie, you're a young guy. You've had this dream of being an author, and you made it happen. That's how I discovered you on social media. You were out there. Your friends were really celebrating this achievement of yours. So I thought it was great. I love meeting young people who have a dream and make it work. So I wanted to have you come on and celebrate this. So first off, when did this dream of yours start? For how long have you been wanting to be a children's author?
So I've always been into reading books from when I was a kid. The other day I got out the VCR and was looking at some tapes from Christmases and birthdays, and I was getting Mr. Men books, and then a bit older, some Roald Dahl books. So I've always been an avid reader. And I think when I was 16, that's when I actually started writing this book. So I did the initial draft then, and then over the years brought it to life.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, tell us about It's Cool to Be Me. Let's start talking about this story.
Okay, so the story is really about embracing your differences and loving yourself. So when I was 16 years old, I was young enough to be experiencing the issues that children face, whether they're in their first years of school or their last years of school, where I was either being influenced by others, trying to fit in, and you can even apologize for being different. There's things where you can't accept yourself that you're different. So, and this was 6 years ago when things sort of like Instagram and other social medias were beginning to get popular at school. And rather than being comfortable with who they are, you could tell that people were more comfortable putting filters on their pictures, and they weren't valuing themselves with what they saw in the mirror. Their value was coinciding with how many likes they got on a post. And everyone's different, and at school you can't avoid this sometimes, but you could go home and get some freedom, get an escape. But with the introduction of social media, this was lessened over the years. So I wrote the book to try and help the younger generation realise that it's cool to be them. They don't have to impress other people, and show that the true values of compassion and friendship focus on making people around you feel comfortable with who you are. So the book is about a boy who he wishes to be cool. He's good at he's getting good grades. He's good at sports, but he goes to sleep one night wishing that he could fit in, that he was cool, because he was worried that wasn't how he was perceived. And so he wakes up and he meets this genie, and he tells the genie this wish, and the genie takes him off, and they go on this adventure where they meet a dragon and some giants, and they teach him a lesson which is actually resolved through a selfie, would you believe? And he wakes up the next day and he's trying to decide whether he needs to validate him being cool. So he looks down at his selfie and he wants to decide whether or not he needs to take it to school and show his friends, or whether he can look at himself now and believe that his friends have shown him that it is actually cool to be himself.
This is, we've had lots of conversations on the show with psychiatrists and educators and about the fact that social media is making growing up harder and harder. How, and as a 16-year-old, now as a 22-year-old, how is it that you had that insight when so many other people aren't able to see, they're in the middle of that storm of growing up? How were you able to kind of step back and take a look at this?
Well, me personally, I've always been a positive person. I've always been quite self-assured. And when I was 16, it was the end of my last year of secondary school, and I actually got voted as the happiest person by my peers. So I think they realised that I'm trying to help people be happy with who they are. And I knew that me personally, I'd put a post on social media and I'd think, oh, this only got 20 likes compared to my last one with 50 likes. So what was wrong with that one? Where I knew I shouldn't be feeling like that. So I tried to take a step back, and I could see that all my friends, all the people that I associated with at school, they were going through the exact same thing. So I tried to think, how can I sort of do my part to make people start to feel better? And I thought the best way to do it is to start with the younger generation, who are the people who are going to be experiencing this in 10 years' time, so that they have the time to be educated and realise that you don't need to impress other people, you just need to love yourself, and that is how people will love you, because if you can love yourself, it like oozes off of you. Mm-hmm. So I thought I'll try and create something that kids will like, and 5 years later I actually got around to putting it into a book, and it's great.
That's one of the memories I have of my son when he was in middle school, so when he was 12, 13, 14 years old, him and his buddies were together, and over the course of a couple of weeks, I noticed that all of these kids, they were spending so much time trying to show each other that they were cool, that they knew it all, that they had all the answers. And meanwhile, none of them knew a thing. They were just regular dopey guys. And I actually, in the middle of them trying to out-cool each other, I kind of just, it wasn't a shouting, but I just kind of burst out going, dudes, none of you guys know anything. Will you just chill out and relax and enjoy yourselves? And that's, you kind of were able to see that. And I'm really impressed with that. I don't mean to keep going on with that, but it just seems what a benefit it would be for other kids in their teens to be able to sit back and to kind of look around and go, yeah, we're all kind of in the same boat here.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a rare quality for teenagers to have. I think I was just lucky that I kind of realised, stepped back, mm-hmm. and tried to take it all in. But I think when you're a teenager, you've got mood swings, you've got everything. You think you're right all the time, and you don't want to be told that you're wrong. Your parents tell you you're wrong, or your teachers tell you you're wrong. And it's hard to find things that actually inspire you to be a better person, to help out other people, and to accept that you're not always right. And I think I was lucky that my friends, my family, and a couple of teachers that I had, they showed me that you don't have to stick to this one system of being this person that everyone thinks you are. If you just be yourself, that's how you change everyone else's perception of you. And I thought, well, try and make a book out of it now.
Well, now that you have made a book out of it and it is available and you're working, we're going to talk a little bit about your Kickstarter, how to, make it more available to folks. What was the reaction of your friends? I saw your friends on social media, how supportive they were. But what about the friends with you there outside of London, those kids that you went to secondary school with? Are they aware of the book? Are they aware of this accomplishment?
Well, there's 3 friends that I've stuck with for probably over 15 years now, and they're sort of my best buddies. And there's actually a page in the book where you can see them on a picture at the back with me. And I only told them this after I got it printed and showed them, and that they love that. But they've always been very supportive. And then the kids that I went to school with, when I put it on my social media, a lot of people who I haven't spoken to for years, but I've always sort of had good mutual feelings with them, that they all commented such lovely things and shared the post and stuff. So it's got a very good response with everyone that I did go to school with, which is nice.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now let's talk about the choices that you're making in publishing this book. You decided to self-publish.
Yeah.
And you said that you made a small printing run to begin with. How many books did you print right off the bat?
So the reason I went down the self-publishing route was mainly because it was my story, and I wanted to have control of the illustrations, and all the illustrations, I sent over like pages of descriptions for each thing. I had all the ideas, just didn't quite have the artistic talent, unfortunately. But they've been brought to life amazingly, which I'm very happy with. The shipping run, so I've actually got a domestic printer to help me out. They're quite local, I think they're about 100 miles away. And I did a run of 300 paperbacks and 300 hardbacks. And I literally, just before I got on the call, got my delivery of hardbacks. So it's been quite an exciting day.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to mention that is that there's a lot of authors who decide to self-publish, which is great, and it can be very successful if they're able to get out there and market their books successfully. The royalty that you can, the potential to make more than you would if you were going with the traditional publisher. But the mistake that a lot of self-published authors make is they get excited and they say, all right, we're going to do it. I'm going to order 30,000 books or 10,000 books, and they end up with a basement full of 9,950 books.
Yeah.
And they put out all that money. And that's not great. It's very discouraging and very expensive. You've decided, so after this initial run, you're going back and you're having a Kickstarter campaign. So tell us a little bit about that, what the goals are with that.
So the Kickstarter campaign, I'm going to be launching in 2 weeks' time with some unique goals where if you pledge a certain amount of money, you can even get a personalised copy. These will be limited. I'm working with my illustrators to actually put whoever pledges towards a young member of their family can be put in place of the main character. So I'm very excited to see that come alive. But the Kickstarter, the plan is to raise £3,000, which will help me be able to print a big bulk order and also help ship worldwide, because obviously shipping hardback copies to the US or Asia, etc. It's actually very expensive, and I want to be able to subsidize the shipping so that it's more accessible for more families around the world, because it's hard to ask people from America, for example, to spend $15 on a book and then another $15 on top of that for shipping. So I want to be able to try and share my message with as many families in the world as I can.
It sounds like sharing that message is your primary goal, that's the thing that's most important to you.
Yeah, so I think the best way to consume these lessons is to educate through entertainment, and the book is full of fun and creative rhymes, unique rhymes. There's dragons taking selfies. There's things that aren't there on the market at the moment, and the illustrations are so bright and just wonderful, the way they portray it. And I think it'd be a missed opportunity for me if I was trying to just drive for profit or try and keep it in the UK, whereas with the Kickstarter campaign, if I can get my message out and raise that money so I can get it across to the US, etc., that's what will fulfill me. That's my main goal, yeah.
Now you said it sounded like the top level reward for the Kickstarter campaign. Let me know if I get this right. So for that top reward, your illustrator will go back into the book and then take out the existing main character and insert an illustration of your child or your nephew or grandson.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's major.
Yeah, it should be wicked. I really hope people go for that role, because seeing me receiving pictures of that kid with them in my book, that would just be awesome. That.
Yeah, we've had authors on who would say, well, I'll put your child's name in the book, and that's pretty cool for kids to read their own names in books. But to see a caricature of themselves in that book, I mean, that's one of those lifetime memories. I know that's something, that book is never going to leave that child. That's, when the child goes to, get married and have their own kids, they're going to be sitting down reading that book to their own kids.
Yeah, of course. That's what I want as well. I want it to be a generational thing. I want it to be as big as some of Dr. Seuss's books or Julia Donaldson, the big authors, where it's a book for life. You're going to keep that book. You're going to show your child it, and then those lessons will then be taught from the parent who learns it from the book down to the next generation. And that's sort of the main goal.
Yeah. Now, you've mentioned your illustrator a number of times. We have to give a shout out to your illustrator. So, who did the illustrations?
So the illustrations are done by a company called Bright Jungle Studios, and I can't recommend them enough. They're brilliant communicators. As many times as they sent me an illustration and I said, can you just tweak that little bit there for me? And they did it with no fuss, and within 3 attempts it was better than I could have ever imagined. Each page, brilliant.
That's great. Now, you've shared with us at the beginning of the show about how difficult it is growing up these days, and acknowledging the fact that, back when I was a kid, 100 years ago, if somebody was bothering me at school, I could go home.
Yeah.
And if someone tried to continue the harassment by calling me up, then my dad answered. No one got on the phone unless they had to go through my dad. So there was that time where you could get away from it and have a safe space. Kids don't have it these days. School follows them home. Their tribe or their harassers, can continue to contact them on social media, on cell phones. What do you think it's going to be like 10 years from now, when the kids who are 5 and 6 years old, who are the target audience for It's Cool to Be Me, what do you think social media is going to be like 10 years from now?
I think that the big social media companies they have to crack down and regulate things like private messages, because I've seen this week a former professional soccer player for Arsenal. He actually shared on Twitter some messages he'd been receiving from a 16-year-old just racial slurs and things like that. And it's horrible to see. So I think that in the next 10 years, they've got to develop a way to crack down on cyberbullying. But there's always, I think there's just only a certain amount of things they can do, and it's more down to educating the children and trying to get them to realise that there's nothing to gain from bullying. It's just you've got to confront yourself with your own issues, because that's really what bullying is. It's taking your problems and finding someone else to put them onto. And as much as you could say, well, if you're a victim of cyberbullying, then go on social media. It shouldn't be down to the victim to go out of their way to not be bullied. You have a right to do whatever you want. And I think that just because it's accessible to be bullied, like, there's no excuse. So I think in 10 years' time, the only way it's going to improve is if we as people improve.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I'm hearing from you, both in what your words and also in your actions here today, is you have a tremendous amount of empathy. And, you want kids to have empathy for themselves. You want them to understand themselves. You have a tremendous amount of empathy for our listeners, because you caught yourself as you were talking about that soccer player. And your first thing was to say football, but you're like, no, I'm speaking to someone in the U.S. and he might not know what I mean. But that's so important right now, is to understand that we all have different perspectives in lives. And yeah, I have mine. And if I want the world to conform to the way I look at things, well, that's not very realistic. And it's going to be kind of narrow-minded. But if, on the other hand, I can, picture what those people are going through and have some empathy for them and celebrate their humanity, it makes it better for me. It makes it better for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone is different, and you embrace your own differences and celebrate everyone else's differences, and that's how you have friendships. That's how you have relationships. No two people are the same. So you've just got to get on with it, and just got to think, well, your differences are cool. I wish I had them, and just make people feel good about each other. I think that's just the way forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of the way forward, what's next for you? Yeah, I know you're going to be busy with the Kickstarter campaign, but now that you've become a published author, is this something that you want to make your life's career?
Yeah, definitely. So I graduated from university last summer with an economics and finance degree, which you wouldn't match to the book, but so I've got that in the back pocket. But I would love to pursue being a self-published author. I have written a second book, which has been sort of on and off whilst I've been trying to take breaks from all my focus on It's Cool to Be Me. So I've got that in the works, but I've got to see how this goes, because I've always sort of seen myself as being an entrepreneur and been very business focused. And now that I've actually got my baby, my creative side's come out, and I've actually been able to make a business out of that, which is fantastic. But hopefully I can pursue this career and sort of get more positive messages out to the world.
Well, for all the authors that are listening here to the show, we have a lot of authors that listen to the show. And whether you are self-published or you're published by the biggest traditional publishing company in the world, what Charlie just said is so important. He is an entrepreneur, and It's Cool to Be Me is his business right now. It's a business. And if you look at that, if you look at your book, if you look at your baby as a business that you want to share with the world, you're going to be more successful getting that book out there. So I just wanted to take that moment to just kind of remind our author listeners the importance, just to realize that, just because you're an author, just because you're an artist, it doesn't mean you can sit back and let somebody else sell the book for you, because they're not. You're the one who has to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're the only one with a passion, aren't you? At the end of the day, it's your baby, you've made it, and it's your message that you've got to get out to the world.
Absolutely. Speaking of selling your book and getting it out to the world, people aren't going to be able to find it unless we know unless we tell them where they can find it. So where can people go online to find out more about you, about the book, pre-order the book, and also get involved with the Kickstarter campaign?
So if you head over to www.itscooltobeme.co.uk, there's pages about the book, about myself, and you can buy the book online there. If you follow or like the It's Cool to Be Me page on Facebook or Instagram, I'll be posting updates about the Kickstarter and when the book is officially available, and once it's released in a couple of weeks' time. And you'll be able to follow my journey as an author on there as well.
That's awesome. So that website is itscooltobeme.co.uk.
Yes, correct.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear how successful the Kickstarter is going to be, and I can't wait to have you back on to talk about that next book.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a great experience.
We've been talking to the author of It's Cool to Be Me, Charlie Mills. Charlie, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Jason Fry. Jason is going to be coming to us telling us about The Voyage, which is part of the Minecraft novel series. Really, really cool conversation. You don't want to miss it. That's the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. If you are looking for a really exciting enrichment program that your kids can experience live and interact with online from the safety of your home, please be sure to check out my website, WeWillRoar.com. Now, We Will Roar stands for We Will Respect Others and Read. And in this interactive magic show, I use illusions and magic tricks and other really fun things to inspire kids to always be kind and respectful. And, of course, to read. And letting them know that discovering the real magic in life comes from reading books. It's a wonderful program. It's great for school, especially now that schools are not in session physically. It's great for church groups, for scout groups, for community activities. Just check it out today, WeWillRoar.com. I want to thank the folks that made today's show so very wonderful. Of course, we want to thank our guest, Charlie Mills. Be sure to check out It's Cool to Be Me. I also want to thank the incredible team that helps me put this together. I want to thank my amazing producer, Fatima Khan. I want to thank my awesome author, Ambassador Peggy Cotto. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. I want to thank Augie the doggy for providing security here in the studio. But most of all, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Thank you so much. You know, all that time you spend reading with your kids and cooking with your kids and creating with your kids. It lets them know it's cool to be them because someone that they think is so cool, that's you, cares so much about them. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.